listening to the Racing Virginia podcast. Now, here are your hosts.
And welcome to episode number 87.
87.
How you like that? I remember that. I'm Dave C.
I'm Brandon Brown.
And we've got oh, that's right. Oh, I got to let you say that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm still not the NASCAR driver. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
We can.
You can see my look right here, looking across to him.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Oh, man. Wayne, we got a great show. Really do. We got Sergio Peña.
Yes, sir. Saw him, met him for the first time in person.
It is interesting that you texted me and said, "Look, I got Sergio."
Yeah.
Because he's been on my list.
Uh-huh.
Because I saw I think it was just because of his name. I wanted to have him on.
Yeah.
Just because it sounds cool.
See, it just took me to close the deal.
Yeah.
That was all. That's all it was.
Yeah. You just. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
But he's got a really cool rap thing that not a rap, but he's got a cool job or two.
Uh-huh. We're going to talk to him about it.
Yes, we are. We're also going to have story time with Randy Hallman again.
Yep.
I have no idea what the story is.
I think it makes it more interesting if you don't know what the story is going to be.
And last minute edition.
Okay.
Because we had a cancellation.
It's okay.
It's early. By the way, it's early in the morning. These things seem to get earlier and earlier.
Because I've got to go to
you got a real job.
My big kid job. Can't be sitting around playing with you all morning.
Why? My big kid job lets me do this.
My big kid job. They do let me do this.
They do, yeah.
However,
just don't want to eat into too much of your day.
Absolutely.
Tough weekend for Racing Virginia at the Roval.
At the Roval in the rain.
Xfinity. Those poor dudes. They just had it. They had a rough, and I'm not just saying a little bit. They had a rough race.
They were in a downpour, a monsoon, a deluge, a frog strangler, whatever you wanted to call it. That's what they were racing in.
They went barreling into a couple of corners several times, and next thing you know, there's like 5 or 6 guys piled up against the tires.
Yeah, you hit that bad wet spot of water on that track, and it just absolutely sends the car wherever the car does not want to go. You saw it in the Xfinity Series race. Our own Brandon Brown, the actual NASCAR driver, he got off course just a little bit, and if you saw the plume of water that came up and absolutely destroyed his car, like it was like a foot deep of water that he hit and just boom.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, if you've ever dove off a high dive or something, and you've done a belly flop,
oh God.
Water is not as soft as they say it is.
No, it's not. It's surface tension, man.
Yeah.
There's molecules. We're going to get into science. We don't need to be getting into science right now, but no, it was a rough weekend. Our own Harrison Burton, who we claimed, he's now out of the playoffs with a 33rd place finish. Greg Galding finished 28th in the Xfinity Series race. Brandon Brown, after that, Brandon was running top 10. He had that car almost in a position to make it to the next round of the playoffs.
Well, there was at one point, Greg Galding was 7th.
Yeah, they were running. A couple of the guys were running really well, and just didn't work out for him. So Brandon's out of the playoffs.
And by the way,
that's a bummer.
We're working to get Gray on the show.
Yeah.
So, just so you know,
like Gray,
his dad's already called me back. So.
Cool. Well, there you go.
It's just a matter of when we do it.
Yeah. On to the Cup race real quick.
Denny had a rough time.
Denny had a rough time. Spun out.
Yeah,
he didn't need to have a good day.
He could have drove in reverse all day,
and he would have been pretty much the same position.
He'd been fine.
Finished 15th. Matt DiBenedetto, he got into a little bit of an incident when Brad Keselowski got off course, got behind, finished 22nd. Gray ran both races and finished 26th in the Cup race. Quinn Half ran 28th, but he ran the SimSeats car.
I know, I saw that.
And which I thought was really cool. We had Zach McAfee on a few shows ago and talked about SimSeats.
I think did we talk him into something?
I don't know.
He said when you got to do a Cup car, and we didn't.
And he couldn't. He did not give it away.
No, he
on
did
the
not.
Show.
No, he did not.
But
I hate him for that.
That was.
You're supposed to give us the scoop.
Yeah. So that rough weekend of racing for Racing Virginia Zone on the NASCAR National side.
And by the way, all of Brandon Brown's fans were followers on Twitter. The 63% of you that said the field other than Chase Elliott, I don't even know what to think of you guys.
I was
That's
playing
four in a row.
Yeah, I was playing the percentages, man. You knew his car was going to be the best.
First of all, who would have ever thought that a kid from Dawsonville, Georgia, would be and with no road course experience, really?
Not until he got up to the Truck Series and probably a little bit of K&N.
To become that efficient, that dominant. I mean, as far as road courses, he's got to be licking his lips for next year.
Oh my God, 6 of them.
Yeah,
you got 6 road courses next year. I saw people tweeting.
When he saw the NASCAR schedule, he's probably all right. Yeah, that's 6 wins.
That's what I saw people tweeting. Like just normal people was like 6 wins for Chase next year. 6 wins for Chase next year. And I mean, people were already putting him in the conversation of best road course NASCAR driver ever, which is. I mean,
he's getting close.
He's getting the resume. He's creating the resume right now.
He's creeping up on that.
Yeah,
he really is. And a lot of rain around the area.
Yep.
So
a lot of cancellations.
Just like Charlotte Roval, unfortunately, they were on a road course. If they'd have been on the brown track, they would have rescheduled.
Absolutely.
And that's what I said to you before we came on the show, is that I was surprised with it being a cutoff race for both. Right? Pretty sure. Yeah. Pretty sure.
Yep.
That they didn't kind of wait it out or, change it. But I guess they just, going in, hey, if it's raining and on a road course, I think the most of the issues I saw on social media was that I can't believe they're racing in the downpour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw not this past 24 hours of Daytona, but 2 years ago, it got so bad that they had to stop the race. And it was worse than that in Charlotte, and they just kept on running. And I mean, you saw.
Hey, 2020 is a weird year.
Yeah. So
right, let's
whatever.
And I was going to say, I know what I was going to say before, but we talked about some more rain. Is that who would have thought Kyle Busch out?
No one. Not at the start. Not at the start of this year.
At the start of the season, if you had $1,000 to place on one person
that would make it into the round of 8, you would put your money on Kyle Busch.
Right.
You absolutely would, because
for him to go without a win,
no wins,
it's great.
0 wins this year.
I've been listening to a lot of obviously other racing podcasts. And especially like Dale Journey Download and Door Bumper Clear, those guys are around each other all together. And all of them have said that, by the way, we give them a lot of free press and a lot of free advertising.
Hey,
they're both, by the way, they're both really great shows. And I'm going to have Dale Jr. on this show. I'm just saying it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Keep saying it. You know what I did this past week? I watched the entirety of the first season of Lost Speedways for the first time.
Awesome.
I hadn't watched it till then, and I actually lay down on the couch, took a few hours, and watched the whole first season.
It is a great series.
If
you haven't seen it, it's free on Peacock.
Yep, it was absolutely phenomenal. If you like old school racing and old school tracks, local short tracks, road courses and stuff, like you'll love that. See, there's more free advertising.
Sending him a bill.
But
either come on the show or you're getting a bill.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Speaking of
local
short tracks.
By the way, when I'm still going on record. We got it. So if somebody out there knows how to get hold of Denny Hamlin and get to him, well, I do know somebody.
Get to Denny Hamlin.
I do know someone.
We'll get to him.
And they got to his PR guy, but it's got to come through another channel. So, and guess who that channel is?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
He's wearing a red hat right now.
Yeah. Me?
Yeah. Because you're at whatever after, your email address.
At NASCAR? Yeah, I work for NASCAR now.
It's a little bit of a pull.
Yeah.
Got a little bit more weight than Dave at Virginia Motor Speedway.
But I also have to
I know.
make sure that I do everything right.
You know what? I'm
going
to put this in Brent's hands.
Okay, there you go.
He knows the guys at Toyota.
Yeah.
And that. just put it in his
Anyway.
hands. Anyway, we digress.
Uh-huh.
A lot of rain, a lot of rainouts.
Not at Dominion, though.
No, not at Dominion. Dominion, I was surprised.
Yeah, if you watch the radar, because I went up to Dominion to watch the race on
just south,
Saturday. Yep,
just southeast.
And it was, if the rain had been a couple miles more north, I doubt that they'd have got the show in, because it was the radar was moving horizontally right across the map. And it sprinkled for about 2 seconds there, and they got the show in, and it was great.
Well, and that we're gonna have Dinah Mullins.
Yep.
Their PR guy.
You might want to
PR woman.
Yes.
And she does really good radio. Those posters are cool.
Yep.
So
I got three of the posters.
I gotta raise
the real posters.
I have to raise my game. Lord have mercy.
Yep. She's good with Photoshop, man.
The
stuff looks good.
Yeah, it is very good. So we're going to have her on and talk about them moving the big one, the $10,000 to win race, to October 31st. So that is our show for today.
Yeah.
I think we need to. I can't wait to talk to our first guest. Yeah. I really can't. After doing research on him, I was like, this is going to be a cool interview. I know it right off the bat. He was already on my list of drivers to call just because of his name. Okay, Sergio is a cool name. All right,
it does not take much to make you happy.
I mean,
Dave.
that is a cool name, and with a name like Sergio Peña, that there's going to be some other racing background other than late model stock cars. And when I did my research, I did not know that he was from Winchester, Virginia. Yeah, till I looked, and
I did know that.
And I did not know he ran. I didn't remember that he ran K&N East. So, with further ado, how you doing, Sergio?
Hey guys, good morning. I'm doing great. Just kind of watching it rain right now, but yeah.
we were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. No, thank you guys for having me on. This is going to be fun.
I got the text on Saturday night, right?
Yeah, Saturday night.
Brandon goes, I got Sergio. I went, oh, that's cool. So I started doing my research, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny. You're Colombian American. And I guess your parents moved here and settled in Winchester. Would be my guess. And
so basically, my dad's from Colombia. My mom's actually from Winchester. Believe it or not.
See,
there you go.
Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah. So he has some Virginia blood going through his veins.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah, Winchester blood, especially.
Which we're going to talk about that because Winchester Speedway is right in your backyard. Dirt track.
By the way, Sergio, if you don't know Dave, you've got Winchester blood going through your veins. Dave just has dirt going through his.
Nice.
I work for Virginia Motor Speedway as their marketing guy, and it's a half-mile dirt track owned by Bill Sawyer. So, and I used to do the late model stock car stuff all the time. I worked for South Boston Speedway for 10 years, and
nice.
And I traveled over to the dark side and kind of liking it.
I'll tell you, man. I've never raced on dirt, but I've ran a little go-kart race on dirt over COVID. As a matter of fact, it is the most fun thing. I would love to get out there sometime, man. It looks like a blast.
How sore were you after that?
Oh my gosh, I forgot how physically demanding go-karts are. Especially on such a small little circle. Yeah, it was tough. My neck, especially the left side of my neck, I was leaning the wrong way.
Well, look, Brandon, I don't know if I'm going to get out there and race. I might be too old, but Brandon, on the other hand, this fall is going to end up out at the White Oak Speedway, which is the dirt track that Willie and Dinah Mullins built in their backyard, and you guys might be rubbing elbows a little bit.
That would be awesome. That's actually the track that I did this little go-kart race at, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
That is so I talked to Dinah at Dominion after your guys' race on Saturday night, and she's brought it up to me a couple of times, and she's like, get your ass out here and race the go-kart track. And I'm like, I have to go do it now. I'm just as a, to defend my honor, I guess, more than anything else.
If they're cooking food, I might show up.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm telling you what, whatever you do, if you go down there, don't jump in the car that I raced, because I ended up hitting a tree head on. Might be a little bent.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's so funny.
So he is really, you were really sore.
But the funny thing is, Sergio, you have dirt in your veins because you started out as a motocross racer.
Yeah, well, my dad especially, he was big into motocross. For me, it was something that I got on when I was little kid. I mean,
4,
dirt bike
right?
with training wheels
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, 4 years old, and I don't think mom's too happy about it. And it was just one of those things where I was going to end up hurting myself more often than not, I think. So we decided to go the go-kart route after that. But yeah, man, I love it. I mean, gosh, dirt bikes are, they're incredible machines.
So you started off with dirt bikes. At what age did you make the transition into four wheels? Because also your four-wheel journey wasn't exactly a lot like a lot of other kids either.
Yeah, I think that happened. I was around 6 years old. So got a little go-kart. It was all road course stuff, so nothing on circle tracks at all. Racing little local tracks here. There was one called Monrovia in Maryland. There was one in Batavia, Maryland as well. So just little kind of short little go-kart tracks around the area here. Nothing really too serious at first, and then, I guess kind of picked up as we went.
Interesting. So, like, as you got into go-karts and you got into trying to make something in racing, when did you know that you was like, hey, I really want to race and I want to pursue this as a possible career?
Yeah, I think, when you're about young, like 6, 7, 8 years old, it's kind of hard to know exactly what you want to do, because you're always like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I want to be a race car driver. Realistically, do you think that's going to happen? I don't know. But, man, I'll tell you, once we started racing on the National Touring Karting, the Stars of Karting Tour, which currently pretty much everyone I was running against is either racing IndyCar or IMSA. I think that's kind of when it hit me. It's like, man, this is pretty legit and we're doing well. So I think this is kind of something I want to dedicate my life to, pursue as long as I can.
2010 to 2016, you spent your racing time in the K&N East Series. You started out with Rev Racing. You were part of the Drive for Diversity program, NASCAR's Drive for Diversity program. Talk about what is now the ARCA Menard Series. Talk about your racing during those, 7 years?
Yeah, it was, my gosh, what a whirlwind of an experience. I mean, I'll tell you, my path with the diversity program started off with my first time applying. I actually got denied for the simple fact that I had no oval experience at all. So once I got that denied, they're like, hey, look, we like the rest of your background. Just get some oval track experience and then maybe try out again next year. So that's what I did. Fortunately, I ran into Sam Beatty, who lives right down the road from my
Sam.
dad.
Yeah, I'm good friends
that's who I'm driving for right now.
Oh, Lord.
So we ran like 8 or 9.
We need to have your car checked.
I'm telling you what, man. Keeping Sam in check is a full-time job.
We're going to talk about
he's
this.
The man.
We'll let you keep going, but we're going to talk about this.
Oh, yeah. So long story short, I ran like 9 or 10 races with Sam at Shenandoah Speedway. We won like 8 of the 9.
Wow.
So it was awesome. And went back, tried out for the D4D program again, ended up making it. So my first year of K&N was almost my first year of racing on ovals. It was a lot, huge learning curve. But man, fortunately, 2011, my second year, we were able to get 3 wins, finish 5th in the championship. That was an awesome year. Had some awesome teammates over the years, great crew chiefs, and just, it was an extremely, extremely awesome experience.
That trajectory you were taking, if you look at your results on paper, you raced against some of NASCAR's elite right now. Joey Logano. Mm-hmm. In fact, you finished second to Joey in Irwindale, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You haven't made it to the big leagues. Where did that go wrong?
Man, it's just it's a tough one. Obviously racing is so heavily, and it's just focused on sponsorship, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't think no matter what kind of results you bring, if you don't have funding behind you, you're not going to be able to make the next jump. Yeah. So, fortunately for me, the D4D program did just that. It was an incredible opportunity, and it was a fully funded ride. I mean, shoot, even more so, we're getting paid to race. It's incredible. But after that dried up, I actually moved over to Hattori Racing. As a matter of fact, Hattori, I'm sure you may be familiar, truck team, Xfinity team. They actually started as a K&N team, and myself and Brett Moffitt were the first 2 drivers there. So once I got that opportunity, it was like, wow, finally a free ride that's not funded by NASCAR, right? This is actually a legit team with sponsors that just called me up to drive for them. So when that happened, I was like, man, things might keep going this way. And unfortunately, it just hasn't. I've never had an agent. I am personally not the best at finding sponsorship. I don't also have parents with a blank check, bringing
Right.
stuff to the table. So that makes it a little bit challenging. But hey, I think that I'm never going to give up on it for sure. Hopefully, we got some stuff in the works for next year that might bump me up a couple series here. So we'll see.
And you said it. To make it to the next level, you not only have to be a good driver, but you also have to be a marketing guy. You have to go out there knocking on doors and bring a suitcase full of money.
Right, you really do. And it's just kind of the way racing goes. It's not just NASCAR. It's every form of racing all over the world. It's just how it goes.
You talked about the money drying up and not being able to pursue going higher and higher in racing. However, you did land yourself a pretty cool current job.
Yeah, that's probably. To be honest with you, it's probably cooler than
it's
cooler than racing in NASCAR. I'm sorry.
It could be cooler than racing NASCAR. You are a safety driving instructor. Now that title might not sound very glamorous, but talk to us about exactly what you do and where you do it at.
Yeah, so basically the short story of it all, how this all happened is living in Winchester, Summit Point Motorsports Park is just right down the road from my house. And I used to race there growing up as a kid, Formula cars and all, so I know the track well. I went out there to just watch a race one day, and I saw a bunch of Crown Vics, Suburbans, looked like kind of government-looking vehicles driving around the facility all over the place, even on the tracks. And I'm like, man, what is going on here? So I actually stopped into the office and just asked them, what are those Suburbans doing on the racetrack? It's kind of weird. And they spent like the next hour explaining to me what they do at the track. So basically, a security driving instructor is basically, it could be multiple variety of things, but basically what I do is I train government agents, law enforcement, special forces, military, civilians even, defensive driving. It could be anything from just, hey, learning how to save a car, control a car, everything from that to training in armored vehicles, people shooting out the doors while we're driving, night vision training. I mean, it gets really, really extensive. So that's been not only an incredible experience, but it has made me such a better driver just because I'm always at a racetrack almost every single day.
How do you prove to them that you yourself are qualified to be able to do that?
It's kind of crazy. So the way it starts is this, and I was really young. I mean, I got this job when I was 21 years old, so that's a lot younger. Most of the other instructors are, there's a few race car drivers there, but most of them are retired special forces, military guys, government agents that were retired as well. So for me being 21 coming in there with only racing was kind of odd. So they started me off just with the civilian side of things. Accident avoidance for teenagers. If somebody wanted to come take a driving course to learn how to drive, that's all it was. As I got more experience, I was just into it, man. I would go there, and on my off days, I would shoot with, as a student, basically. I would go, when they go shoot on the range, I would shoot with them. I would, come watch them do other things. I just wanted to learn so much because it's like, man, it's like a hidden world that's all happening right here at Summit Point. So started getting really involved, and they started letting me start teaching some other courses. Hey, do you want to start teaching with the State Department? So I started working with the State Department pretty close. And once I got that check in the box, man, it was kind of game on. It's been everything from training SEAL teams to, a lot, everything in between there.
So that means you could actually take the car that you drive in, the 01, and drive backwards probably as fast as you drive forward.
Backing is one of the things that we spend a lot of time teaching, and it's the hardest thing to teach. Backing is tough, especially with mirrors. But yeah, those Crown Vics, the police interceptors, we can get down the straightaway at some point like 70 miles an hour in reverse. It's pretty cool.
Oh man,
my dad was a military policeman. That's one of those. One of those tactical things you have to learn because sometimes you get turned around or you pull into a situation and someone's in front of you and you don't want to be where those guys are, so you have to go reverse.
Can't go forward, go backward.
Yeah.
And how long have you been? That's your full-time job, right?
It's kind of a mix between. So I'm contracting with a bunch of different things. I also do some stunt driving out in Hollywood for kind of getting into that stuff now. I shot a big music video. Another huge thing that I do, unfortunately this year hasn't happened so much with COVID, but last year I spent the majority of my time on the road as Aston Martin North America's performance driver. So
that's the thing I was thinking. When I looked this up, that was the cool thing. I'm like, man, he gets to test all these cars.
So Aston Martin performance driver. So what's on that job description?
Yeah, so not only is it performance driving, but it's also product specialist. And basically, it is. I got to be honest. I would probably spend 30 minutes going over all the responsibilities I would have, but a lot of it is coaching people at racetracks that buy cars. Helping out dealers. Let's just say a dealer puts on a track day, go be the pro essentially, and just let everyone have a good time, let them learn some stuff. It also comes down to even going around dealership to dealership around the country and training up sales teams, training up the mechanics in the shop. Fortunately, earlier this year, I got the opportunity to go to the factory over in England and just learn everything. I also was able to get my special license that they give if you pass certain tests that allows me to drive prototype vehicles. So Aston Martin just released their first SUV, the DBX. I went over there to the factory. They sent the very first one prototype over to the U.S. I was the only one, well, maybe along with one other person that was allowed to drive the thing in the country. And I spent like 2 months with this thing out in California doing heat testing, reporting back to England every night. So, man, just crazy. Crazy opportunity.
And with all that craziness, you're also like, hey, I want to drive a late model at Dominion Raceway in my spare time as well.
Well, which leads me to, a lot of guys that, you started off in go-karts where it was all road courses. Some of those guys don't necessarily go to Indy or, they gravitate towards IMSA with the road coursing because I'm telling you, this IMSA and that stuff has gotten huge.
Oh my gosh. One of the unfortunate things is Aston Martin does not have a factory team here in the U.S. We do have one over in Europe, but that's kind of one of the things I'm working pretty hard on right now is bringing a factory team to the U.S. here for Aston Martin.
That would be cool,
man.
Oh,
and,
so
and,
cool.
That would be so cool.
And we would then have you on the podcast again to talk about all this.
I don't know if I'd be the driver. We'll see. Again, it comes back to the money thing. But,
true. But
we'll see.
I don't know. If you got the thing about factory cars, a lot of times they try to put people in, and it's not about money. It's about prestige for them.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. And we actually had some change in upper management within Aston Martin. Look into that all you want to. But the new change in management, they are hardcore racers. The guy that just bought Aston Martin, essentially, he owns a Formula One team. So
cool.
I think they're going to be pretty heavy into racing here in the U.S. here soon.
Man, that's cool. And to be able to have your foot in the door per se, to be able to be a part of that's got to be, the potential of that is huge. And to be to be there and to be able to be a part of that's going to be pretty awesome, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, at first they had no idea who I was. They were just like, hey, look, you can talk okay, you can drive cars, that's cool. They were allowing me to do stuff on track. I went to 3 Formula One races last year with the Aston Martin F1 team, Red Bull, Aston Martin, and was able to do hot laps on track with the F1 drivers. So me and Max Verstappen were out there in Aston Martin. It was really, really cool experience to get out there and just. So hopefully they have a little bit more faith in me now, and maybe, who knows? We'll see.
By the way, Brandon, I'm going to say this again. We have some really cool drivers in the state of Virginia.
Dude, look,
I didn't know, Tommy Milner.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was from Virginia.
Yeah.
Driving
one of
the Corvette
the best
team.
One of the best at IMSA. Like, Dave and I talk about Sergio, Dave and I talk about this all the time, that we have in Virginia, we probably have the most diverse, eclectic group of not only tracks and facilities, but also drivers. And that's why we wanted to talk to you today, because your story is so diverse and unique and interesting.
Look, and before we go any farther, we're going to dive right into it. How in the hell did you get hooked up with Sam Beatty?
Oh my gosh. All right. Sam Beatty. I think the long story short is he lived literally a mile away from my dad. And, like you're talking about racing in Virginia, I mean, people talk, and Sam heard about us. We heard about Sam. Yeah. So we just met up, and, I mean, what an incredible human being Sam Beatty is.
He is.
First of all, he's a wild man. He is. There's no filter, so be prepared.
Nope. You're exactly right.
But I've been driving cars for him off and on for the past 12 years now, since I was 15 years old. And he has, I mean, worked so hard to get me on track so many times and just giving me opportunities when I had no other opportunities. And so because of that, man, he's incredible. He's a man.
You know, I give Sam a lot of a hard time, but you know, because he lives in the gray area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, that's one thing I had to keep straight with him, to be honest. Like, look, Sam, we're following the rules extremely tight. I am not one. I'm not going to have my name on the door of a car that's going to be iffy in that gray area. So I keep him straight.
but I will say this: Sam Beatty's always had a good car. It's always been competitive, and he helps. I've lost count of the drivers that he has helped over his career get to the next level or to become really efficient and good at what they do.
No, and that's just it. I mean, I've learned so much from him. And look, I can barely keep up with him. He's 77 years old, and I can't keep up with the guy. I mean, it is incredible the amount of energy, the strength he has. I mean, honestly, if we didn't have Sam, we wouldn't do it because it's his team. But even if it wasn't Sam's team and we did not have him there, it would not work.
That says a lot about Sam Beatty too. The energy that he brings to the speedway, and makes that team go.
For you, Sergio, you know, this COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, 2020 has been the craziest year. I've been around a long time, and this is just way above my head about figuring out why this happened. But we have some track promoters here in the state that have really gone out on a limb to keep things going, and Steve Britt and his partners, Dinah Mullins, the whole crew at Dominion has done a phenomenal job. From your standpoint, how does that make you feel as a driver that they're doing everything they can? I mean, they're going to have a $10,000 win race. They can't even have fans.
It's incredible. I think that this has been a really, really challenging year for everyone. You know, fortunately, South Boston didn't end up opening up. I think it was good for us at Dominion because it brought a lot of good cars to our track. But yeah, just like you said, hats off to Steve and everyone at Dominion. I mean, my gosh, to go from like not even sure if they're going to be able to keep the lights on at the racetrack to now hosting some of the biggest late model races in the country. I mean, looking at the lineup the past couple weeks, if you look at the top, you know, the points in the nation, it's incredible how many heavy hitters we have there.
Well, and that's what I was getting ready to say. The one thing the pandemic has done is it has spread out the talent. The talent is going to different tracks because they're just trying to find places to race. And it's kind of spread it around. Dominion, Langley, Franklin County, the asphalt tracks that are open in our state are doing really well, even without fans. I think they're at least paying the bills.
Exactly. No, and that was incredible. And, you know, for me, especially, even though Dominion was open and running, it's still a concern coming down to, okay, are our sponsors going to be able to continue to fund our team and help us out? Peak Roofing has been incredible through this entire process, before COVID-19 and during. My gosh, what an incredible group of people that we have behind us. We obviously would not be able to do without them. So, looked at 2020 in the beginning. I was like, man, this is going to be a rough one, and it actually turned out to be okay for us. So that was good.
You did start your year off, and Brandon's going to geek out now, Sergio. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice that you did some iRacing at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it was the Martinsville 300 or something that you did. And
we did. It was the Blake Morris Memorial. We had a big 200 lap iRacing race at Martinsville. Yeah.
So do you like that stuff?
Oh, I love it. I mean, when I was racing at Rev Racing, we had like, I don't know, there's like 8 or 9 simulators at the shop, but they had us all on all the time. And so, I was on there every day. It had been quite a few years since I'd been really active on there. But, when I came back I guess when COVID hit and we were, you know, having to lock down, I was on iRacing for probably 5 or 6 hours a day. And I loved it. It's a great time.
Do you have a sim seat?
I don't have a sim seat. Mine is there's actually a guy that I used to race go-karts with. This is an old setup that I have. So, but Brandon was talking to me all about sim seats, and I was like, man, this sounds like it'd be a good deal.
Yeah, we know somebody.
Yeah, we know a guy.
We know a guy.
They are beautiful. I mean, I know all about them. They're all simulators.
Sergio, I'm wondering if how many races that we've run against each other and didn't know it yet. And I'm
That's
wondering,
true.
And I'm wondering if I ran you over at some point or another that I can't remember now. But
he's pretty rough on that racing. Except in the 1987 stuff.
Except in the 1987 cars, I can hold my own against like who was I racing against the other day? Like Daniel Silvestri, holding my own against Daniel, Connor Hall, and a few other ones. Yeah. Josh Berry beat my ass up.
Well, it is nice that if you take one thing from COVID and the pandemic is that tracks here in the state of Virginia have been able to get higher car counts because people are looking for places to race. I mean, just the battle for the national championship is coming right through Virginia, but Dominion, Langley, I mean, back and forth. And it's probably going to go down to the end. I know Josh Berry's probably got a little bit of a good lead because he picked up 3 wins in the last 2 weeks. So I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, Josh is going to be tough to catch. I'm super good friends with Peyton Sellers, and he's actually helped us quite a bit the past couple races here. Trying to turn our year around here a little bit, but. Man, I also am great friends with Josh, and it's really cool to watch them battle. I mean, 2 top late model teams in the country. I don't know how you could do it any better than these guys do it. Drivers, teams, everyone involved with both of those teams. So it's been fun to watch. It's been an honor to be out there just sharing the track with them. I try not to, when they're passing me, basically, I try not to get into them or anything. Let them do their national points deal. But first of all, 2 awesome guys running for a championship. They're pretty cool.
First race on Saturday night, you were running Peyton down there for a little bit. That the 01 was working pretty good in that first race.
Yeah, we came from it was like 12th to 4th there in just a few laps. I mean, we were feeling really good, and then fortunately, the same issue that Josh Berry had, I had a huge chunk come out of my right front tire right there, on the inside where the tire touches the ground the most. So. That was unfortunate. We took a swing at it for the second race, and we have a brand new setup. Like I said, Sellers is helping us out. So we're learning a lot about this new setup we have. We went the wrong direction with the change, and that kind of messed us up for the second one. So, yeah.
What you do all of this racing stuff with Aston Martin with your job and also with the late models. What does the next few years ideally look like for Sergio Peña?
Oh man, tough question. It's weird. I've never been in a situation in my life where I have so many different things going on in different areas, going different directions, and I want to commit to all of them as much as I can. I think honestly, it's just going to kind of play out as to number one. Obviously, I need to be able to support myself and pay my bills, so that's the primary focus. I mean, I want to race as long as I can. The awesome thing is Peak Roofing is completely behind me here, so we'll see what happens next year. I think that next year should be an interesting year for us. And again, just trying to move forward and advance and get better. As far as the Aston Martin thing, like I said, we'll see what happens there. Hopefully we get an IMSA team and I can get involved somehow. I know the government contracting thing isn't going anywhere, so I mean, I see the next few years as far as my normal daily schedule goes, probably staying similar. Just hopefully some of the racing will change. Hopefully we'll move up, do some bigger races, maybe some different series. Who knows?
And at your job, I want to know: is there anybody really, really, really cool that you've come in contact with? You might not be able to say their name, but is there somebody really, really cool that you've done stuff with that we would know?
Yeah. I mean, gosh, training. I see so many different people from all walks of life. I mean. It's been really cool. As far as like names you might know, I've become really good friends with Travis Pastrana through all this. He lives here in Annapolis, Maryland. So he actually came down. He knows that I work at Summit Point, so he came down with his wife, and I got her in a Miata, gave her a bunch of coaching because they were going to do a 24-hour of Lemons race at VIR, I believe. So before that, he came down, spent some time. So that's cool. I mean, gosh, the list of names that come through Summit Point Raceway out there is just incredible. So, yeah, it's been very interesting.
By the way, Brandon, we might have to make a trip out, do some defensive driving lessons.
Yeah, I feel like.
Oh, come on out!
I feel like we should make a weekend of it. We go like Friday night to Dinah's go-kart track, and then go up to Summit Point on a Saturday and do some defensive driving tactics.
What do you
Oh,
think?
come on out anytime, you guys. I'll send you the schedule for what's going on at some point. We'll make it happen.
All right, that sounds awesome, man.
It sounds really cool. I was kind of half joking, but now I'm
let's
not.
do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do
Oh
it.
no, you can't joke. We're gonna do it. We'll make it happen.
Man, it's been such a pleasure to have you. Welcome to the Racing Virginia family. You will not be. I mean, this will not be the last time you're on our show.
Yes, sir.
Oh no, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Racing Virginia. I mean, what an awesome thing you guys are doing. I'm a diehard Virginia. I've moved around. I've lived in Charlotte, California, but Virginia's always home. The racing here is incredible, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do with Racing Virginia, and happy to be a part of it.
And by the way, if something happens for next year that's pretty cool, you got to let us break the news. Come on.
Yeah,
Oh,
come on
absolutely.
the show.
You know?
I will. You know,
Well, look,
hopefully we got.
If we have to, we will get in a car, bring all this equipment, set it up wherever you need to set up for a sponsor or whatever, and make the announcement.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I mean, that actually would be a really cool thing. I think the place to do it would probably be at Peak's headquarters. We're talking right now about next year. And, man, we got some exciting things in the works. You know, we'll see how it goes. Can't say too much right now because obviously it's not finalized. But fingers crossed it all works out, and we'll be doing some cool stuff next year.
Sergio, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you again.
No, thank you guys so much. I mean, what a great time. I look forward to next time.
All right, bud. Thanks.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
What a cool dude.
Right?
What a freaking cool dude.
What a cool dude with a cool career path. That might be. We've had some unique drivers and unique personalities on here, but that might be the most diverse, I would think, in what he does in all aspects of racing around here.
It is very interesting, to say the least. Aston Martin. I mean, that's you don't realize that's a badass car.
Yeah,
that's James Bond's car. All right, the Aston Martin. That's how cool it is.
Yeah, and he gets to drive it as part of his job.
Oh, and
I thought my job was pretty cool.
Well, the one I don't know if you saw it. He's an ambassador for. He gets free watches.
I don't get free watches
From Johnny Moore. Johnny Moore watches. So
sweet.
that's fucking. You know,
we're just learning more and more and more about him.
You have to be cool to be an ambassador for a watch company.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's crazy. Yeah. You know what time it is?
What time is it?
Mr. Randy Hallman getting ready to drop some knowledge on us. I love that music for him.
I know you do.
And welcome, Randy Hallman.
Good morning, guys.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. We just had a really cool guest, so we're freaking out.
We got the energy is high around the office today.
Always great when you have a guy that you're interviewing. Because sometimes some of the interviewees can be a little dry, but this one wasn't.
Yeah.
So. All right, great.
Randy's like, who was it?
It's Sergio Peña.
Sergio Peña, and late model driver, and also a government safety driver, and all sorts of stuff from right down the road from my hometown. So we got to talk to him about a lot of cool stuff.
By the way, before we go any further, do you like your new logo?
I'm crazy about my new logo. It's sort of age neutral, and and I think I can claim that and say, oh yeah, I'm in my, and just sort of muffle how old I really am. So I like it. Yeah, it's great.
Very cool. Well, we got that made, and
I still have to get a picture from you, a good one, a good headshot. Because I need to send you to the same guy, your stuff to the same guy that we had our caricatures done,
mm-hmm.
And we need to get one for you too. So,
yep. But your new logo, I know you know April Madnowski. It was her work, and she did a fantastic.
Oh, she is so good.
Yep, she did a fantastic job on it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make some more graphics from all of your story times and start posting them on social media, because I know the one that I'm looking forward to posted the most is right now is the Jeff Bodine Elizabeth Taylor story.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Yeah.
All right. Can you top that story? That's all we need to know. Can you top it?
Well, I don't know. That's a pretty high bar. I think I have already told my very best right there. But
Oh man.
I'll see if maybe I can approach it. We'll see. Yeah, but I was thinking. I was watching yesterday's race from the Roval, and I remembered the first NASCAR road race that I covered was 1983 at Riverside to finish the season. And it's funny. There were just a few things that were sort of that those two races shared yesterday's and the 1983 finisher. That was when Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip were at their best, and the previous 2 years, 81, 82, Bobby had come close to the championship. He'd never won one, and Waltrip had beaten him both those previous years, 81 and 82, for the title. And it came down to the end in 83, and Bobby was leading the points, but it was still close, and Darrell was right behind him. And they went to Riverside to finish the season. Great road course out there in California. Well, since disappeared from the map, but at the time it was where they went. And Bobby was great on that track. He won 6 races at Riverside, which is 6 stock car races, more than anybody else. And so it was a great place for him to finish. And he needed to finish like within 9 spots of Darrell. And they went out there, and Darrell was on the pole. Bobby qualified, I think, 8, 6, 8, somewhere right in there, but up close to the front. And they got going, and Bobby right away had a flat tire fairly early in the race. I think he had 2 in the course of the race, but he had 1 early, and he tore up the tire pretty good. And it took him, road courses are forgiving in some ways and not in others, because it's a long way around. And if it happens just right, it's easy to stay in the lead lap. You can get in, get something fixed, get new tires or whatever, and you don't lose the lap. On the other hand, if your problem happens fairly early in the lap and you have to go all the way around, then you're going to lose that lap and maybe more. And Bobby had torn up that tire, and it took him a while to get back to the pits, and he went down a lap. So he's in trouble. His bid for the championship is in trouble. But he gets back out there, and he's right behind the leader, and the caution comes out at the right time. And that was back when you raced back to the flag. You didn't freeze the positions when the caution came out. And it was also there was a stretch in there where everybody would let people by. If somebody was lapped down and right behind you, the idea was, well, go on, you get back in the lead lap. But at the time, that wasn't the case. You might not race too hard, sort of depending on the circumstances, but you would race hard to keep a guy a lap down, and certainly a guy like Bobby, because he would be a threat later to win. So whoever the leader was, Bobby raced hard and was able to get by and got back in the lead lap. So things were looking up. But then he'd come in and gotten fresh tire, new tires and fuel, and then he goes back out, and all of a sudden he's got no fuel pressure. And he's on the radio with Gary Nelson, his crew chief, great crew chief. And he says, Gary, I've got no fuel pressure. I got to come in. You guys didn't fill the tank. What happened? And as Bobby told later, he and Nelson went back and forth, and Gary's saying, "No, you got plenty. We filled you up. Don't stay out. Don't come in." And Bobby saying, "I got to come in. I've got no fuel pressure. It's starting to hiccup, So Bobby brings it in. Gary's saying don't, and Bobby does. And they put some more fuel in, but not much because it doesn't take much. And Gary's like, "I'm right," and Bobby's like, "Yeah, but I didn't have any fuel. I don't know what's going on." So this repeats several times. He'd run a few laps and he'd say, I got no fuel pressure. He'd have to come in again. He was making way more pit stops than anybody else. Again, fortunately, he could get in and out and he wasn't losing a lap. He was falling back, but not losing a lap. Well, a lot of things were happening. There were like 9 engine failures, which back in the day, this 42 car field, there were lots more engine failures. And other guys were falling out. So he wasn't going back to 40th. He was, going back in the standings, but people were dropping out and he stayed in there. And there were enough caution flags to kind of keep him within sight of the front. And the fuel pressure thing happened over and over, but he nursed the thing home, and he finished like 9th. I think Darrell was 6th, and Bobby was still on the lead lap, and it was good enough, and he won the championship, and they went to victory lane, and everybody was happy. And Bobby was on the radio as they came in saying, "What happened? What was going on with the car? What was going on?" And Gary Nelson was saying, "Don't even worry about it. We won the championship." And Bobby was a car guy. He wasn't just a driver. He built his own cars and had his own shop there in Alabama and knew everything about every car. And he just couldn't let that go. And he got the team. It was the Dygard race team. And he stayed after him and said, "I want you to take that thing apart. What was going on?" And finally they did a week or two later. And they found 10 pounds of sugar in the gas tank.
No way.
They did. And somebody had sabotaged the car. Had come in and poured sugar into the tank.
Wow.
And Bobby put it off to a fan, somebody who hated him, somebody who loved Darrell. Some people suspected that it might have been a misguided crew member, not crew chief, but that somebody who was maybe a fringe crew member had done it, but nobody knows. Nobody knows, and the crew member thing is probably going overboard. It might have been just a fan. It wasn't. It wasn't that hard back then to get into the pits. You could fake a credential, and they weren't anywhere near as sophisticated as credentials back then. I have a friend who shall go unnamed, who is an artist who created a credential. He had a legitimate one, and he made one for himself using his artistic talent, and it got him into the executive suite at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where he walked around and had a conversation with Bruton Smith. So you could make yourself a credential and get in, and maybe that's what happened. Maybe some fan either climbed the fence or had a credential, but somebody put the sugar in that tank, and darn near took Bobby out of that championship. Another thing that happened, again, just the racing gods were looking out for Bobby, because the race ended with like 3 cautions for rain. Right at the end, it rained and they stopped. They didn't have wet tires for that race, and they put out the caution, and then it stopped. It didn't rain very much, and they went back and then raced a few laps, and it rained again, and they put out the caution, and it happened 3 times, and the race ended under caution, sort of saving Bobby from possibly falling back yet again. And I don't know, it worked out for him, but it took a lot of elements for that to happen. The rain yesterday got me thinking about it, and the fact that it was on the road course, and had me wondering about the rain tires and how that would work out. But it was an amazing day. Whoever put the sugar in there probably just could not believe that Bobby Allison actually won that championship. It was just, somebody must have just been just going crazy. What, I put the sugar in that tank? What the heck? What does it take? Anyway, I don't know. Did you guys like that race?
Yeah,
it was okay.
I
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I liked it. I tell you, I feel a little guilty. I wanted more rain.
Yeah, me too. Not quite as much as the Xfinity Series
No,
race, though.
that was
exactly. That was just crazy. But I would have liked to have had them, navigate a little more water just to see what would happen. Anyway.
Well, we're seeing who's in the what is it, the round of eight?
Round of eight.
So
yeah,
it's looking like to me, and we need to make this quick because we got another guest to get on.
Sure.
But to me, it looks like obviously Denny and
Harvick.
I think they got enough. They could probably sit out a couple races and still get in.
Almost.
And then I think Chase Elliott just put an exclamation point on his potential to be one of the final four.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't even.
Who else? Because it could be with a win, anybody could get in.
Well, and it could really mess up a bunch of people because all you got to do is have three guys that are in the bottom part of the 8th, 9th, and 10th win. Excuse me, 8th, 7th, and 6th.
Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, and Chase Elliott win the next three races, one of those big two from this year will not be in.
Yeah,
that's right.
So,
that's the problem with the playoff system to me. You named it right there.
Yeah, well, it's what we got, and and I understand it. I really do. They want to create some excitement, but I still like the old. I used to keep track of all the points,
sure,
as in normal points.
Yep.
And to see who would have been the real champion right now,
the cumulative champion,
Kevin Harvick would have won it by a landslide probably.
Yep.
So, because he won the regular season, I can only think.
And he's just been more consistent than Denny had. Denny's been dominant, but Harvick's been more consistent.
So, but it's going to be interesting, and that'll give us something to talk about, right?
Yes, it will. We'll complain and we'll watch.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, my friend, and we can't wait until next week for you to drop another story.
All right, we'll see you then.
Thank you, man.
All right. Bye.
Interesting, someone sabotaged.
Right? The fact
it almost makes you want to think, did somebody on Darrell Waltrip's team?
You never know.
That's what I'm saying. You never know.
Who knows? Nobody knows. One thing that about that race that also stood out to me, that was Bill Elliott's first career Cup Series win as well.
Oh, damn.
Yep. So his first career Cup Series win, 1983 at Riverside, and now his son is dominating the road courses right now.
Speaking of road courses, someone from Racing Virginia, man, it'd be cool to have Ricky Rudd on.
Wouldn't it?
I mean, we got to get on that. I
think. Ricky's tough. Ricky likes to do his own thing.
He's been on the Dale Jr. download, and again, a shameless plug for you guys.
It's like 4 of them today. They just do some awesome stuff, let's be honest.
We are going to go to the phone lines again.
There you go.
Okay, we're going to go to the phone lines again, and we're going to talk to the better half of the Mullins family.
Mm-hmm. Had Willie on earlier this year.
Yeah, had Willie on. Willie, he's the husband of. Got to give her the credit, Diana.
Yeah. She's the hard worker. She's the hard worker.
She's the hard worker. So, welcome to the Racing Virginia podcast, Dinah Mullins.
Thank you for having me on.
First of all, the stuff you've been putting out this season, you and your team, has been just remarkable. It really has, and that's coming from a guy that does it for a racetrack. Two guys that do it for a racetrack.
Absolutely. And Dave's talking about the social media content, the creative pieces that you all put out. One for every winner. You've got your templates that just pop off the screen. It's better than a picture. The posters, though, the promotional posters that you guys do are just second to none, especially here in the state of Virginia.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. My love of short track racing is deep enough that the guys that race every Saturday for us are my heroes, and I'm excited to see them at the racetrack, and I want everyone else to get as excited to see Peyton Sellers or Mike Looney or Philip Morris or Josh Berry to see him come to our track, because sometimes I think our fan base doesn't realize how lucky we are in our region, the rich racing history, and just, you know, the ability to see some of the greatest drivers in the country every weekend for $15. I mean, it just can't get any better than that. So
I do have a bone to pick with you, though.
Dave's just going to jump right into it. We got this. Go ahead.
I'm just I did make a post on it. Okay, on her TikTok. That did you see it? Did you see my reply?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
You know,
Dave, what got you so angry, Dave?
She said asphalt late model racing was the best thing since sliced bread and over dirt.
Uh-huh.
She even mentioned dirt. But I'm a little hurt. Dinah, we got to have you out to a super late model race or.
You know, it's funny though, because my background actually is dirt. So I am originally from Brainerd, Minnesota. And
there we go. Yes.
In Minnesota is Westota country. It's all dirt. My local dirt. We had dirt. I grew up behind Brainerd International Raceway. My first job as a kid was working out at the drag strip. I kind of grew up out there. My dad was a dirt racer before I was born. My grandfather owned Lansing Speedway for a short period of time, a dirt track in Minnesota. So that's really all I had known kind of my whole life. And then I moved out here 10 years ago and really started in road racing. So that was kind of what we did. And then in 2016, when Dominion started, we started hanging out with Robert Bruce and Cole Bruce. And I just, I absolutely fell in love with asphalt. Just wholeheartedly, it was my thing.
Well, look, it's the same thing for me. See, I worked for South Boston Speedway and Martinsville Speedway for 10, 12 years. And I would have said the same thing back then, that asphalt late model stock cars are the best division in the country of anything. But then I had to cross over to the dark side. The dark side was calling me, and just the how the dirt cars move around on the racetrack is so much different from asphalt. And don't get me wrong, guys out there, I love asphalt racing. I love late model stock cars. We're just kidding. I have to put that out there. I don't want. You know how people are on social media.
Here's what we're gonna have a go-kart death match at your go-kart track here coming up between you and Dave. You can just settle it there.
Which I wanted to point out, the track that you did build in your backyard is dirt.
Well, absolutely, because that's the crazy thing is that where that track is, there is natural play on the property.
Oh, it's awesome.
So we didn't. I mean, it was fate. It was truly fate there. So. But, and I do love dirt, and I'm also one of the photographers for Dominion, and we get a lot of the photographers from your guys' tracks, and a bunch of, and I was like, oh, you should come shoot dirt with us, and then they'll put up pictures of their gear afterwards, of their body afterwards, and I'm like, oh,
it's not that bad.
I don't want to spend all Sunday cleaning myself.
No, hold on. This is the argument that I have always thought was way off base. Because if you go to an asphalt track and you sit in the wrong corners, you will come out covered in black dust.
Yes.
Trust me, I know.
But in the infield,
I grew up. The thing is I grew up going to Southside Speedway. That's where I got my love of racing. Southside with my uncle. And, if you sit in the wrong corner, you come out covered in black dust, and your car out in the parking lot is covered in black dust. So, black dust or orange dust? It's the same.
Listen, I promise when you guys are back up and running next season, I promise I will be out there. I promise.
Well, I tell you what, I'll announce it right now. Thursday Night Thunder. With the All-Star 410 Sprint Series and Tony Stewart, April 15th.
Okay. I will mark it down. I'll be there.
That is the Thursday night before the Sprint.
I'll bring Willie. will be a whole thing. We'll load up the car with a bunch of us from Dominion.
Tony's going to be there like he was a year ago. We had to cancel this year because of COVID. And the worst part was is I was in mode. I was in Thursday night thunder mode like you were, that you are been all year. And then COVID comes on. I'm like, I just did all that work for nothing.
Right. I know that. Yeah, I know that feeling. You're just like, oh. That's kind of, with the big one that should have happened yesterday. That was like,
that's why we wanted to have you on, is you moved the big one because of weather, which was smart.
We did.
It was such a smart decision. Move it to October 31st for Halloween.
Yeah.
Now you can give it a Halloween theme. I mean, in my head, I know what I would do. I even know the posters I'd be doing.
It's going to be a big deal. We're going to have on the road course, because with COVID, it's a weird year. And I know there was a lot of chatter in the infield that we should have moved the 200 lapper to Saturday, but there was a lot of moving parts. And that's what I wish race fans would understand, that, as you guys know, when a racetrack makes a decision and you have everyone that was like, well, you should have done, well, there's 25 other moving parts that the average fan doesn't know about. And the track, I mean, no one really cares, right? They don't. So there's a lot that goes into moving a big race like that. So the 31st made sense. We're going to have basically trunk or treating on the road course for people that don't even need to buy a ticket. Like, that's going to be a free community event. You come in, it's a safe place for your kids where you won't have such close interaction. But we're also going to we did a big Halloween thing last year. We're going to do the trick-or-treating on the front stretch. Last year we had our trailer there for some reason. So I convinced everyone with lift gates to buy big blow-ups. And, I dressed up. I put in, I scared the little kids. I put in red eyes and had fangs, So I think there's a lot of fun things that we can do. And I think it's going to be a good race on the 31st. And it was just a weird deal. Like like this weekend we're putting twins on for the late models, and I'm pretty sure Sellers will be at Langley, but Sellers will be here and Barry will be at Langley, but there's just a lot of moving parts with national points, and you couldn't really put it this weekend because those guys want twins, and there's a lot that goes into this. And we're excited that we can make the 31st a big event.
Yeah, when is the cutoff for national points? I should have looked.
This coming weekend will be our final weekend.
Okay, so we'll know the champion this weekend.
Yeah. Well, in theory, we'll know.
Yeah.
It's that secret sauce of points that no one can really keep up on. We just have to, wait for.
You have to have a math degree to get to understand those points. It's kind of like passing points in a dirt race.
Yeah.
You set the field by passing points in the heats. You should see that. When we did it for the World Championship that we paid $50,000 for, we had 110 cars, and so we said, well, let's do passing points. We hired a guy from Tennessee that is a math genius, and he's the one that put this Excel file together, and it was like this many points times 1.37894. It was cool.
Is that the number?
No, but that's
that would be impressive if you remember that.
That's how crazy it was, because sometimes it's hard because your fans get lost. They they go, well, heck, how did he end up starting 12th? And
that was kind of last year. The fun with it last year was I had done a couple graphics coming close to the end of the year, because we had 3 people that ran our track that were up for national points, and the 2 guys from Minnesota. So I had messaged one of the wives to get a headshot, because I wanted to, do a whole overview for our fan base. So I got to kind of know one of the wives. So then with the last 3 weeks, she'd be texting me like crazy, like, hey, where did Mooney start this race? Because that's the thing. You could kind of figure out, but you need to know where they started. And so it was like this thing, like people were running up to me like, all right, where did Tony finish? Where did, Panitsky finish? And the buzz in our track last year, although we did not have a national champion out of our track, was electric those last few weeks. Just, I mean, I guess the cloak and dagger point does lead to a lot of chatter.
Yeah.
A lot of, just trying to figure out what's going on. So, I mean, it does make it interesting.
Yeah. It has been the weirdest year. I mean, who would have thought that, I understand why Bill Sawyer, our owner, did what he did.
Absolutely.
Because you just don't, I mean, right now, you can't have more, you're not supposed to, air quotes, have more than 1,000 people. And that includes crew and drivers. I mean, that's a tough, I got to give it to you guys and to every promoter that has tried to keep racing through this pandemic, because it is super difficult to make any money with 500 fans, because that's about where you're between the 500 and 600 fan. If you throw in all your pits and all that stuff. So I mean, man, my hat's off to you guys. I mean, you did you've been doing a phenomenal job in the marketing of that place and the graphics. Look, and I like that, because the guy sitting to my left, Brandon, and you are going to make me step up my game in 2021.
I love that.
I am coming with both barrels blazing, baby.
I love that. I'm good friends with Mike Diaz from Southern National, and Mike likes to comment that I'm on drugs. He's like, I can't believe you do all this work. Like, I just can't. But like, I joke with him that my goal is to make him look bad. And of course, it's all a joke. I love friendly competition. Like, I feel like if each track pushes each other in the best way possible, like, we're all going to win.
Well, and that is, yes, and that's why we do the show. But the one thing, like I forget when it was. It was one week you said something, man, I wish I had all these guys' headshots and all with a green screen or or back with a backdrop. Yeah. And I had, I'm like, geez, she's stealing all my ideas. I already had that set up. I had, I bought the stuff for the racetrack because anybody that came was going to have their picture taken in front of this white background. Mm-hmm. And if I had to, it could turn over black, depending on the color of their suit. So I'm like, okay, Dinah. All right, Dinah's seeing all these posters. I'm going to have to step it up.
Well, at least great minds are thinking alike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Brandon was at our track this weekend, and we got talking about making these guys just larger than life. Yeah. And tracks in general, and I get it because it's hard. And I do remind people that we are in a unique position where I am the photographer and I'm the designer. Yeah. So that does make it where it works a little bit better for me. And it's harder if you're the designer trying to find headshots. Yeah. But tracks have gotten in the habit of being like, we have a race this weekend, you should come out. Yeah. And that's not enough. Like, we need to be like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Peyton Sellers has done such amazing stuff. You guys can't miss this. He's here. Like, Mike Looney's here. Oh my gosh, you guys, do you understand how cool this is that Mike Looney's here? And we have to make these guys into the heroes that we know they are.
Well, we need to turn people
promoters were excited.
Yeah, we need to turn people like Daniel Silvestri, who's coming up through the ranks now, rookies. Yeah. And lift him up and make superstars out of these guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think
absolutely.
And I think that on all levels, I think that's one of the biggest things that have been missed in the past, I'd say 15 years of racing marketing in general, from the top level down, is that we've lost the guys that are larger than life. Dale Earnhardt was 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Rusty Wallace was 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And you don't get that same energy from these drivers, say like a Kyle Busch, who is one of the absolute best in the world. But you don't get that from him. Like, he's great. Mm-hmm. You know he's the best. But you don't get that allure, that mystique of Dale Earnhardt that makes you want to give all of your emotional investment on a large scale to those guys.
Right. And I think that's where it's weird, because I'll talk to people and we'll talk about my husband, and then I'll be like, well, yeah, we raced 4 times last year. And they'll be like, what? We thought he raced way more. Mm-hmm. Well, it's about selling him it's crafting an image, but it's crafting an image around who he is as a person. Like, it's not fake. Like, people that hang out with him, like, he is a quote machine. He's larger than life. Like, he's Willie Mullins. So, I got someone to do a cartoon of him, and it's about making people just be like, I love that guy. And with Willie, what we've been able to kind of like mold is the guy that's sitting Saturday night watching Daytona, drinking beer, eating popcorn on the couch with his beer belly and maybe some balding head goes, holy shit, I look like that. That guy, like, that's me. Like, that is me in that race car. I see myself in him. Mm-hmm. He drove the semi down. He's driving the semi back. Monday, he's going to be welding on a trash truck. He is our fan base, or who our core fan base has always been. I mean, we're trying to reach out and get new people, but our core group of fans are blue collar, hardworking gentlemen and ladies, and those are the people that we have been able to reach. And I think that that's important, that you find your people and really speak to them.
Yeah, and I mean, you're looking at that with a new racing audience. A racing audience is about as diverse as it's been in history, mm-hmm. and there's a bunch of. You can find yourself in these racers, like whether you're the blue collar working guy or white collar or whoever you are, mm-hmm. you can find yourself in them. And I think that we need to do a better job of making them into these superstars and heroes, so you can put your emotional energy behind that person that you really care about.
I mean, because growing up, Sonny Hutchins, Bugs Harefield, Ray Hendrick, for me, that, Bill Dennis, I mean, they were larger than life at Southside Speedway.
Yeah.
And we didn't have social media then. But still, they were, I mean, as a kid, man, I was looking up, they could have been 10, like you said, 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And they had to work a little harder at the in-person socialization and, getting kids and fans to like them then, like that. I have told Brandon, we've had some conversations, and I think it's going to happen. Having you, and I forget the other lady's name, you have to give her some credit, but we're going to have like a marketing 101 on Racing Virginia.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to be a part of that. That's the thing. Like, I will get drivers that will kind of be like, "Well, I don't get enough press from the track," and I'm like, "Man, it's easy. Like, stop me." As you guys know, we're not mind readers.
Nope.
And I'd love to promote every single person on a racetrack, but I'm not a mind reader, and I don't always know what's going on. And it stop me, take a minute to talk to me, tell me what's going on. I mean. And I have no background in this, other than I married a man that races, and we don't have any money, so I had to figure it out. Like, all of this, self-trained in Photoshop, self-trained in photography, self-trained in PR, so it's totally doable for everybody. Everybody, and with social media, it's so easy to do it.
Yep, I have a broadcasting degree. I had to learn all of this stuff on my own. Luckily, a lot of that skill set, transferred over, but I didn't know anything from anything. You just fly by the seat of your pants and see what works eventually.
Yeah.
Well,
it's figuring out, and there's so many resources to go to. So
yeah, there are. We had Sergio on Peña.
Mm-hmm.
He's awesome.
I love Sergio.
He was such a cool interview, and I think the White Oak Speedway, there has been a challenge put out, so just
stay tuned for a racing Virginia challenge.
I'm gonna say this here, and maybe this will help convince this racer that he should come out to our track. I got talking with Peyton Sellers this weekend about the poster that I had done for my personal wall that he wants. And I made a joke about Willie's poster, how it's an Arca tire and a go-kart. And he was like, man, it looks like you guys have fun at that go-kart track. And I was like, Peyton Sellers, you get your butt up to Fredericksburg on a weekend you don't race, and let's get you in a go-kart. Can you guys imagine Peyton Sellers at the back of your go-kart track?
That would be amazing.
I mean, as we talk about larger than life, like building these people up, it's weird things like that that help the mystique of a driver. A Peyton Feller showing up to someone's backyard go-kart track, it would be awesome.
Well,
it would be awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm putting it into the universe so the universe can help get him convinced, right?
It's we are one big family. That's what we try to preach here at Racing Virginia. Is we are one big family. We have the amount of great drivers we have, the amount of phenomenal tracks, the amount of the diversity we have. That's what makes Virginia and Racing Virginia so incredible. And that's why this show is important, because we want to make sure that all the track owners and promoters and the marketing people are working together, so we can all. There's no sense in us, trying to book big events against each other, especially if you're within a couple of hours. It's kind of stupid,
right?
And because we all share fans. I don't care. We all share fans. I know because I see them. And I see what they're posting on social media. So absolutely. I can't wait to work on this and this marketing 101, because I think a lot of drivers need it. They they wonder why they get a sponsor and the guy won't come back the next year. And
the days of slapping a logo on a race car and calling it good are over. And there's so many fun ways to do it. And is it Ryan Vargas that just picked up the TikTok sponsorship?
Brian Vargas.
And that was it was so organically came about, and he's on TikTok. I mean, I obviously I adore TikTok, but it's a fun way to get the fan base to get to know the drivers, and get to know their personalities, and we need more of that. We need more. It's amazing what I've noticed. The videos that do the best for us are trailer tours, shop tours, what Willie's working on. It's the stuff that our fan base can't readily see.
They don't see.
The racing stuff's great, but they want to feel invested in the backstory, in the extra stuff.
And you're exactly right. I've said all along that drivers need to show their fans how much work they put into it. And if you're not willing to put it on social media, that means you're not doing anything.
Yep.
You're coming to the racetrack and going racing. That's it.
And it goes back to the old Ken Squire saying, my broadcasting hero growing up, common men doing uncommon deeds. So showcasing all of that hard work and packaged in a person that you can relate to and feels like you and looks like you, that's all you need.
And it takes all kinds, every track, every series. The ARCA series has struggled with car count a little bit this year. We're in a transition period, and then COVID, and we got some fan bases the back markers. And it's like, well, you know what? That back marker that broke down on the way to the track and still found a way to get on track, you know what? Maybe he's not as fast, but he is deserving too. He's helping. We need everybody. And a lot of those back marker stories are amazing stories. Wayne Peterson I think he did 7 tours in Vietnam. James Hilton was absolutely one of my heroes. Whenever we'd see him at the track, he'd have to come up and give me a big hug and kiss. I honestly don't think he remembered who I was from race to race, but he was the perfect ladies' man, where he always made you feel like the most important person who's talking to you. And then, you couldn't help but smile when you saw him. So those guys have always made the racetrack fun for me to be at. I feel like there's so many stories throughout the field. It's not just the guys winning races every race. It's the guy that maybe isn't going to ever win a race, but by God, he's putting in a ton of work, and this is everything he's ever wanted, is to be at the racetrack on Saturday night. They're important too.
Yes, if you don't have those guys from 10th on back, you don't have a race. I'm sorry. So I mean, you are absolutely correct, man. We can't thank you enough for designated hitter for us this morning coming on, but we wanted to make sure that everybody knew that the big one, didn't get canceled. It just got moved to October 31st.
Yeah,
So
October 31st, 5 o'clock. There's going to be, we have 15 cars locked in. You can go to the Dominion Facebook page to see the list that's locked in. We're going to do a qualifying race for the rest of them to get in. It should be a great time. $10,000 to win. Should be a great race. You know, dress up. Come have some Halloween fun with us.
Have some fun.
It's like a double whammy. It's going to be super fun.
Again, thank you, Diana. By the way, she is a great follow on TikTok, folks.
Oh, yeah. Got to follow her on TikTok.
Got to follow her on TikTok. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, guys.
Great woman.
Absolutely.
She's got this has been a high energy show. Mm-hmm. It seems like the shows are getting this way all the time.
Let's just keep the energy. I didn't even have my coffee this morning.
Speaking of energy, NHRA was. I mean, let's give it Camping World, Outdoor and RV NHRA Nationals.
Yep.
Coming to Virginia Motorsports Park.
Coming back.
June 4th through the 6th, folks. It was, the NHRA put out their schedule, and I love that. It's highlighted.
I did that.
Yeah, I know you did.
I clicked Control B.
Yeah. I know
and highlighted on there. But that was I took my dad there last year. It was his first NHRA experience. He absolutely loved it. Was blown away. Almost literally, if you're next to any of those Top Fuel or funny cars, you get blown away. Yeah. But that's going to be cool coming back after a year off due to COVID.
Yeah. Virginia Motor Speedway. We have locked in our big events. So, as I said, All-Star Circuit of Champions 410 Sprint Car Series, Tony Stewart, April 15th. It's Thursday Night Thunder. Virginia is for racing lovers, King of the Commonwealth. It's going to be May 22nd. The USA 100, August 7th, and the World Championship, September 16th and 17th.
So it's going to be an awesome year.
It's going to be we're going to put out the whole schedule. We've got our mud bogs already booked, but we're going to put out our weekly schedule here very shortly. Just trying to work through the things. I would love to have a motorcycle race.
Oh yeah,
the state of Virginia. Yeah, people don't realize most of our fans are probably younger, and they don't know the history here at Richmond Raceway on the fairgrounds, where flat track motorcycles were huge.
Those guys
Joe Weatherly, Joe Weatherly, 2-time national AMA champion, flat track champion. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Well, get them here. Or get them there, not here.
But trying. They're hard. They're hard to get. Once you have them on your schedule, you don't usually let them go.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of fit something in. But
I mean, that's a phenomenal show.
Yeah, it is. It is. They were at Charlotte this weekend down in North Carolina with no fans. It was terrible. But they're on Track Pass.
Perfect. I'm gonna have to go check them out. I haven't. Since I've gotten Track Pass, I need to watch it more.
I'm telling you,
I need to go back and just start watching some older stuff, because I got to watch the ARCA series, the East and West series, and some other things. But
watch the AMA flat track stuff.
Okay,
you will be amazed. These guys are. You think rubbing is racing, and with 4 wheels, you ought to see these guys on 2 wheels. They're nuts.
No, they're not. Yeah, you couldn't get me out there. You can put me in a go-kart. Put me in something that has a cage in it. You won't get me on 2 wheels. Well, they're crazy. Crazy.
The schedules are starting to come out. As we told you last week, Langley put their schedule out, got all their special events. Go to their website. Or go, we don't have it up on Racing Virginia.
Yeah, we'll get to, once most of the schedules do come out, we'll compile all of them and put them on racingvirginia.com.
That's a very tough job for you.
Yeah. So it used to be Vaughn's job. Now it's got to be my job. I don't even know how to do it yet.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But for schedules for the rest of the year, 2020, you can go to racingvirginia.com.
Yep.
And also, our social media has been on fire.
Yeah, we've got some really cool stuff on social media.
People interacting with us.
Yeah.
That stuff's badass.
Yep. Like 1,700 on Twitter. Like the Twitter now is exponentially growing. Yeah. And we just want to...
Same thing with Facebook.
Yep.
Our followers and likes have gone... So we're...
It must have been Randy's graphic. And they like that Randy's
well, we try to do that. I mean, we're trying to make the show better and better for you folks.
Yep.
I know we aren't the best in the world, but we ain't the worst
in the world.
Yeah,
and
we're
striving to be the best in the world.
Absolutely.
Tell them where they can listen to us at.
Oh, everywhere.
Exactly.
Everywhere. I've been getting texts from people that I don't even know. I don't even know how they got my phone number. Saying, "Oh man, yeah, I've got it on Deezer, or I've got it on what? I don't know. There's so many of them."
Yeah.
But the main four, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio.
Yep.
Those are kind of the main four.
Yep. And of course, Spotify is my favorite.
Yeah, and Apple Podcast is mine. So
there you go.
But a great show. We can't thank our guest Sergio Peña, and of course Randy Hallman and Dinah Mullins for being with us. We can't thank you, the listener, for taking the time to listen to our rambling sometimes. And for Brandon Brown, I'm Dave C. Again saying thank you and keep racing, Virginia.